Well. Look who we have here. The Queen of Djuma. Karula, who I haven't seen for about 6 months. This just keeps getting better. I'm so privileged to see this beautiful cat who has such a loving following, as do all our big cats, but this particular leopard is very, very special to everyone. And she is just lying down chilling. But I did think, I'll just see if Ryan can just pan around, please, mate. I do apologise. I was looking at Karula there, and that just happens to be another leopard, and that is Tingana. Now, Tingana is a big male leopard on the eastern side of his territory, probably the furthest most east of his territory, and he's come over into this territory here. So there's a good chance that Karula will follow him back into his own sort of proper territory proper. We're not sure, but there was a fair bit of flirting going on this morning from our wonderful Karula, and she hasn't had any interest from him for such a long time. I hope you don't mind. It's just any photograph I can get of her, I always try, because she is absolutely striking animal. They all are, all the leopards. It's just such an incredible species. And you know what? We're just going to park here. We've got another vehicle arriving just now, and it's Aubrey, I think, from Djuma, with some of his guests. So you may hear a little bit of talking going on. I think this is one of the magical things about being on safari all together as a group. All of us are here experiencing the same thing and sharing these sightings with each other. It feels great. You feel like you're having a moment with everyone that you'll take away. Lovely comment from Jill on Twitter. Jill, thank you so much. It does feel very, very special to see two of my favourite large predators in less than 24 hours here on, or about 24 hours here on this magnificent part of the planet. Wild dogs and wild dog pups yesterday, and two leopards today. Now, it's not always, you know, I have to tell you, it's not often that you see two leopards together. You do see them, obviously, when they come to mating, or what we're seeing probably now. She is definitely keen to carry on with this mating process. He's not showing a lot of interest at the moment, but generally you normally only see leopards solitary, and they're a solitary cat. So this is quite a special moment. It's a special moment for me as well, because Tingana is the second leopard I ever met on Djuma and Arathusa here in Sabi Sands. So one of the things I would like to do, and this is what I love about Safari Live as well, is that you're going to help me now. You're going to help me with your knowledge. Many of you have been following these cats a lot longer than I have, and if anyone can help me with the age and maybe some more information about Tingana, I'd really, really love to hear from you. So if you want to tweet us at #SafariLive or questions@wildearth.tv, and just give me a couple of facts about Tingana, that would be great. And it's all about sharing information and data that's been collected over the years. It is, as I said, about 26 degrees Celsius, about 79 Fahrenheit at the moment, so it's still quite warm for any predator to be up and active. But as the afternoon shadows lengthen, we will hopefully see some activity, and hopefully witness the next generation, if we're lucky. Definitely not something that I can count on more than one hand, the times that I've ever seen leopards mate. So a very, very good position we're in. Well, welcome back to this little flat cat episode that we have here going on for you folks. As you've just joined us, welcome aboard. And if you were still with us wondering if there was any action going on, the answer is no. These two are still flat out. It's still a pretty warm afternoon, and I know Peter just had a lovely sighting with zebra there. I think the great thing to know is that because we've got so many vehicles and sort of different perspectives on the bush, it's really wonderful to be able to sit with these cats, and Pete's off going doing something else, and Scott's doing something else on foot. It's a really great way for us to cover all these wonderful things. Now, I just got a little bit of information from Debbie on Twitter, and thank you so much, Debbie. I wasn't sure, and Debbie has let me know that Tingana's 9 years old. Thank you so much for that. You probably see great similarities here, folks, with your domestic cat if you own one there, doing exactly the same thing. Licking his paw and cleaning his face there. So many similarities that we see in our own domestic pets with these big cats, and it's quite beautiful to watch. It's quite very relaxing to watch a cat clean itself and the care that it takes. So the other vehicle you can hear starting up is a great guide from Djuma, Aubrey, with his guests, and I think we're just going to move on and come back. A little bit of wind on the microphone here, folks, at the moment too. Apologies for that. But yeah, really beautiful and mesmerising to watch. So we've got a great question from Andrina from South Carolina, wanting to know what age leopards stop breeding, and that Karula is getting on a little bit. She's 11 years of age, and she's been mating loads in the past year or so, and she still hasn't conceived. So 16 is around the age that research shows that they sort of stop breeding. She's got a fair few, 5 more years left in her if we go by what the research states. But it happens to just be the right time. The females only come into estrus for about 7 days, and the timing's got to be perfect. But we'll wait and see. I mean, to witness this would be absolutely extraordinary. Tingana's definitely awake, but ours not showing major signs of interest at the moment. He is a beautiful big boy. We could be sitting here and a prey animal could walk onto these animals, and they would completely take up that opportunity and utilise it. Beautiful coat pattern that just blends them into the landscape, that dapple light as it hits that coat pattern. A little bit of a wind picking up. I saw Karula in this location about a year ago, and she was just walking through this sort of little bit of open woodland here, and I remember she let me follow her. It was really nice because it's great to drive through here. The access is very easy. You don't have to go crashing through any of the bush sort of, so it makes driving much more of a pleasure, and quieter as well. And it was just so nice just to sit with her and drive around sort of next to her, and she'd walk past you, and she's just one of the loveliest leopards. But she's been a little bit of elusive of late. A lot of the team have told me they haven't seen her for a while, or they see her sometimes, and there's loads of movement going on with the territories of the leopards as well. And Q, my first leopard that I ever met. He's over on an adjacent property at the moment. I did hear his name mentioned on the radio this afternoon, and I thought, could you imagine if I saw him? Wow. That was lovely. Just lovely yawn. I often find when lions particularly start to do this yawn, I believe it's the same with leopards, that yawning and stretching they start to do just before they get a little bit active. I should probably lie down after that. I've got a great question from Jen in Idaho, and Jen, your question is a really great one. When you think about it, we think sometimes that the mating situation takes all of their day, and they do get pretty fixated on mating, but at the same time, if something was to present itself, they would definitely take that opportunity. Now, I've seen leopard hunting at all times of the day. I've seen leopard hunting in the middle of the baking sun in Tanzania. I've seen leopards hunting at night, morning, afternoon. It doesn't matter. The books and most of the research shows that they're really active sort of around dawn and dusk and through the night, and that's got a lot to do with the heat. But depending on what the contributing factors may be, whether it's not an enormous amount of food around, if she had cubs and she was she was needing food and she wasn't getting out as much to eat herself, or just all different things. But my point is that every book that you read, there's a lot of research in the background that goes on with wonderful, dedicated scientists that allow us to, here she goes, to allow us to share this information and read about it. Let's just see what happens here. She may present herself to him. Well, it doesn't get... I'm not sure if the microphone could pick that up from here, but she was nuzzling him or nudging him, and he was just giving this very loud purr or not a growl. This is so beautiful to share with you, and to have you here with me, and it's... oh goodness, this is one incredible trip. Wow. But Karula and Tingana. That's a lovely comment from Lisa. Lisa's just said 3 yawns. Lisa on Twitter, that's really great. 3 yawns and they must get moving. So look at her, would you? Amazing behaviour. Absolutely amazing, folks, to see that. I've never seen that in the flesh before. The way that she just rubbed herself down his belly there. I mean, it's getting a little... Look at that back flick. Now that's what... We were watching this earlier, and this is an extraordinary thing, that little twitch in the back that she does. Really trying to attract his attention. This is spectacular. He's probably going to... He might give her a swat in a minute if she's not careful. Well, I can guarantee one thing, folks. She hasn't got cubs. That is for sure. We're all wondering whether she had cubs, and that's why we weren't seeing her that much, but she wouldn't be doing this if she had cubs. This behaviour is mating behaviour at its finest, what you're watching here, live, 100% live from South Africa, on Safari Live, and this is what's incredible, to share this with you. Astounding. Great question from Leslie in California. Would a male leopard that came across a female leopard that wasn't in season potentially kill her? Leslie, there's so many different scenarios that can play out with things like that. You know, the female would probably try and elude, you know, getting into any confrontation with another male. It has happened. There's definitely been deaths from males killing females, but it's one of those things where she would probably escape very quickly, as quickly as she possibly could. If she had cubs, then it wasn't that other male leopard's cubs, then there could be a confrontation, her protecting her cubs. Normally they would flee, but when the cub situation came in, she would probably stand her ground, even with hyena and other predators, but it doesn't always end up for the best, that's for sure. You know, predators play a huge role in taking cubs. But infanticide occurs in leopards as well, and one of the greatest data has shown, the data that's been collected or that has been documented, that male leopards are one of the pretty much sort of equal at the top of the list when it comes to the fatalities, the reason for fatalities in the cubs. A great question, Leslie. Well, Karula has just sat back up, and she's becoming a little bit more active, but I think Pete's definitely one of the people that knows most about these leopards and has spent most time with these leopards, particularly Karula. Peter has a very, very strong sort of association with this cat, and he has been pretty much along on the wild earth journey, and really to know hear some of his stories about Karula and watch her grow up. So yeah, he's a great wealth of knowledge, Peter. But he has lots of the leopards, and Tingana is one of those males that he might be just holding back at the minute, but as Pete probably mentioned, he's probably only going to be able to hold back for so long, and then he's going to have to give in, because from what we just saw a second ago, she ain't giving up, that's for sure. Folks, we've just come back, and Karula has gotten up, and she just approached Tingana again, and he just gives a little growl or a little rumble underneath there, and she will probably display a little bit more like she did before, and try and coerce him into doing what she wants him to do. And you can see that flicker on the back if we just go in close there. The vocalization that you can hear right now is him, and she's now going to do the same thing that she did before. Rub herself down his belly there. Extraordinary stuff. That is so beautiful. So she's now walking over towards us, folks, and lying down right in front of our vehicle, about 10 feet, so close that we can't really even get a full shot of her body. She's just set up for us, but you can see how close she is to us. It's something. She's been looking down that way for some time, and it's interesting to just see that she's tried again with the behaviour, that very flirtatious behaviour towards him, but he has got no interest whatsoever. Now I'm more interested in why she's looking down that way.
Well, there's again, you know, it's whether she's an estrus or not. She will.
The wind is really picking up, folks,
get him to cover her.
and
So if she does have
that wind will blow over the microphones a little bit, so I will try and speak up where I can.
with all the males, the dominant males in this area. So this male, another male, possibly even one up in the north, where we saw the wild dogs. She has been spending quite a bit of time up that side. So she's playing games with all the males in the area. She's been in shifting territories that she needs to make sure that all the males have been sorted out and kind of
attracted to them.
Exactly.
Now we've got a little bit of movement out of our boy here, not much, but a yawn. He's starting to sit up. We just had a question from Astralina. Astralina, thank you very much for being with us on this. Oh, look at this, look at this, look at this. Okay, Astralina, I've got to come back to you. There's an impala that is just around the corner here and is unaware. Now you can see what's happening. Stand by. Something has changed. A young impala is just in my vision through the woods there. A little bit of vegetation covering the impala is aware that something is there. Karula was lying right out in the open. Alarm call. But did you see the position? The position? And this is what we were talking about. Could happen. We said, didn't we? We said earlier, and many people asked the question. We asked the question, what happened if a prey animal walked up, what would they do? They went into hunt mode or stealth mode, and she was just sitting really quiet, upright, she hinged. It's just so beautiful to watch, and now we're getting some beautiful, beautiful pictures of Tingana and how big he is compared to her. Now he's alert, he's very alert as well. So, opportunistic, any situation could happen here. The other young male impala coming through.
Maybe now that he's up,
Flat cats that we were hoping were going to sit up and we were going to see some mating behaviour, which we did. Now moved on to potentially looking to seize the opportunity if a mail delivery or home delivery meal gets delivered straight to their door. Now, big bulk of Tingana's shoulders and neck, and that wonderful dewlap, that sort of flap of skin underneath his throat there, which will help act as a bit of a defense mechanism if they did get into a fight with another male. That big flap of skin would potentially protect him from a fatal wound. If an animal was to grab him around the throat, that flappy skin there but it's a very distinct feature on the big males called a dewlap. If he stood up, you'd notice it a lot more. You can just see it under his neck there, or maybe when he does sit up, we'll see it a bit clearer. Both very, very alert at the moment.
Efron, there's space for one, make your way. Come in, come in.
Got a great question from Jenny. If Mvula is older than Tingana, and Mvula is actually approximately 1 year older than Tingana. Tingana's about 8 to 9, and Mvula is 10.
No.
So a little bit older, but very, very close.
Maybe not. You might just sit back, let her hunt, and then if she is successful, you might chase her off.
So there's so many different scenarios that could occur if they do hunt. It really is just a matter of seeing what happens. He may decide to, but then again he may not. And if she does, as we mentioned before, he could chase her off. And it just depends on loads of different scenarios that play out. I'm keeping my eyes open, folks, as I'm sort of pausing. I'm just looking through the bush in front of us as they are. The wind is, which is an interesting situation. So these guys are probably the most adaptive cat in the world, I would say. They live in all types of habitats. They eat anything from, goodness me, large hoofed animals to reptiles, to birds, to small mountain crickets if they have to. They're very adaptive depending on the food availability. And of course we talked about before that ability to hoist or haul their kill up into a tree, into a larder, and leave it there, feed on it for some time, and leave it there for days on other times. I actually have seen animals here and on other places where they'll have 2 or 3 kills stashed in trees over a period of a week. Other animals normally do come and steal some of that. It's well. Unbelievable. That was phenomenal.
That's what she's been trying so hard to do.
Well, folks, we waited and we waited and we waited.
When they start to make, they will make
and
it for 4
so beautiful to see that
20 minutes or so.
when you've got patience, you will see extraordinary behaviour from wildlife, and that was a great example of it. But look at Tingana standing there.
Big male.
The size of him, and that dewlap is very apparent now. Oh, how beautiful. Right in front of us, folks. absolutely spectacular here live on Safari Live. Peter has now found something just as incredible. Wait till you see what Peter Pretorius has for you. I'll be right back. Folks, it's just all happening, isn't it? Pete with Wild Dog, how extraordinary. And now Karula's gone back to Tingana. This is the third time we've seen, and she's become much more forceful, and then it becomes that growling, pushing the envelope. He's in a bit of a tricky spot there. And this is the third time. Extraordinary stuff. Always finishes it with that obligatory bite on the neck and a little bit of a scrap, and it's advertising the mating as well. He's a little bit lame on his front right leg there, you know. It wasn't just from that, I don't think. I just noticed he was a little bit lame. He was limping a little bit on that front right leg. I'll keep an eye on that just to see if we watch him walk again. But what we're witnessing here, folks, is mating by leopards live in Africa. Now, I have to pinch myself every time I see something like this. Every time I witness something like this, but to be with you live, having you on my vehicle here, my goodness, my heart is jumping for you. This is a really incredible thing. But then, after they've mated, they go into this potential hunting position. Karula has got a very, very inquisitive and quite a high alert sort of a look on her face there. Just down to my left, there was a herd of impala as we came round. It's a tricky one. It's a great sort of time for hunting, that's for sure, because a lot of the prey animals can't hear or can't smell correctly. They don't know where a scent coming from. It's swirling around, and also their sense of hearing is impaired a little bit by the leaves in the trees and the grass, wind running through the grass as well. So they use this to their advantage. But what you will find is that many of the prey animals go into more vegetated areas to try and get out of that wind. Oh, there's so many things that it affects, and all we can do is just sit and wait for a little bit longer. Wow, what an afternoon. In about 15 minutes. He'll bite her on the neck, and then there'll be a little scrap. Incredible. And he's going to walk back up here and sit down, and that is the fourth mating that we've seen in 15 minutes. Eyes open, scanning around, and you watch if she sees something. That behaviour, or that body posture changes dramatically. She'll drop her head and shoulders and go into stealth mode. The tail just moving, and you probably do see a little bit of a similarity with your domestic cats at home. I mentioned this before. When your cats are a little bit revved up and you're playing with them or something like that, they're chasing something in your house, or they do go with that little tail flick like that. Check it out. Little tiny movement, keeping her eyes wide open, and anything could happen any minute here. We only have to get an impala or a kudu or a wildebeest or anything like that to walk upon, and they will seize that opportunity. So great question to all of you. Thank you very, very much for being with us on the vehicle today. And she's just going into these different sort of modes in between wanting to mate and wanting to hunt. Really overjoyed. got a great question from Valerie in Ontario. Valerie, welcome aboard. Again, great to have you with us. It's a question that's relating to how long can they hunt when they're pregnant, and absolutely, Valerie, they can hunt right up until pretty much they're going into a very sort of short labour, which they would go into, and then they would hunt right up until then, and then she has to suckle those young, and then she'll have to at some point go and hunt again, and keep her vigour up, keep her health up, because she has to produce milk like any mammal, has to feed herself well, and she will then produce milk and suckle those young. Just for anyone's information, it's a very, very interesting position we're in, but I can get, I was just about to put some lights on, and that is just a very soft wash, folks, over these two leopards. It's not a spotlight, it's just a wash light that we have, just lightens it up a little bit for us. She's going to come back to Tingana and go for her fifth mating, or is this her sixth? I've lost count. Got a wonderful question from Cameron, aged 5. Cameron, welcome aboard, buddy. What you're seeing right here is an amazing thing, my friend. Cameron, these leopards together are growling at each other, and you want to know whether they're angry with each other or they're just talking. Well, Cameron, I have never learnt how to speak leopard, but if I did, I'd be able to share with you a little bit more than I'm going to. But the simple answer to your question, Cameron, is they're sort of talking to each other. They're communicating like your mum and dad would, or my mum and dad, or other people's friends, like you would with your friends. You would communicate and talk to them in a language that you understand, which is our language. Leopards have their own language and their own series of growls and snarls that mean different things, and tones that they use, and that basically means that they can communicate with each other. So great question, Cameron, and so good to have you, mate. I love to know that young people like you, 5 years old, mate, you are going to go so far asking questions like that. Thanks for being on the vehicle with me, mate. Incredible. Folks, I just can't explain to you in words how lucky we are. Safari Live rocks. That's all I can say right at this moment. Safari Live rocks. I think it was Judith in... We're witnessing this again, folks. Oops, sorry. absolutely amazing to see both of them right next to each other like that, and the sexual dimorphism. So that basically means this difference in size. We've got them right behind a bush here, but I just want to see if she's actually mates. I want to just reposition. Just heard a little thank you, you beautiful creatures, and you go off into that magnificent night, and it is just a little bit thick through here.